Okay, so this video is going to go over solving equations from the ClassKick assignment. So what I have over here on the left side is from your quarter one notes. So these are the steps to solving the equations. So we have distribute, combine like terms, variables, numbers, and solve. And a mnemonic to help you to remember this is dumpsters contain very nasty stuff. So as long as you remember these steps here to solving equations, you should be fine. So let's go ahead and go over B real quick. So I'll get you started on B. Right, so first step is to distribute. And over here they have the example 2, open parentheses, x plus 3, close parentheses. So if you had parentheses, you would have to distribute this 2 to each term inside the parentheses. So this would become 2x plus 6. So when you distribute, you're multiplying. So the first thing you need to look for is parentheses in your problem. So you can look in this one. So there's no parentheses. Great. So we can skip that step. Next one is combine like terms. And it says it must be on the same side of the equal sign. So when you're combining like terms, you can't combine this side with this side. So remember, we have put a line here because our equal sign. Because when it comes to just combining like terms, we don't move anything from one side of the equation. So combining like terms, we're just looking at this side, and we're just looking at this side and combining. So remember terms. A term is any combination of a number, variables that are between a positive sign and an equal sign. So whatever is between a positive sign or equal sign, that's a term. So here's a negative sign, so that means 7x is its own term, and minus 2 would be its own term. So this side has two different terms. This side, we have two plus signs, so that means 10x would be its own term, positive x would be its own term, and positive 6x would be its own term. So when we're combining, we either combine the numbers together, the constants, the numbers that are by themselves, or if there's two different variables in separate terms, then you combine those. So like 10x plus x, those are terms that we're going to combine. Oh, and 6x. So these are all x's, the same variable, so we would combine those. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite. I'll come down here. So 7x minus 2. So notice 7x is a variable with a coefficient, and then the next term is just a constant by itself. So there's nothing over here that we can combine. Over here, however, we can combine these all three because they each have a variable, the same variable x. So we're going to add 10 plus 1 plus 6 and get 17x. Just like that. So our next step is variable. And it says plus or minus, use inverse operations to move variables to one side. All right, so we need to move. Remember, our goal is to get the variables on one side and the constants, which are just numbers by themselves, on the other side of the equal sign. So we have a variable here and a constant, and then just a variable here. So we need to get this variable on this side, and that will get us to our goal of just leaving the negative 2 on one side and then having the variable on one side. I can't move the 17x over here to the left because then that we have equal to 0, but we can't do that. So we're going to say minus 7x. So inverse operation of positive 7 is negative 7, and that'll get it equal to 0. So negative 7x, and if I subtract 7x on this side, I have to subtract 7x on this side as well. So 7 minus 7 is 0, so that just cancels out. Bring down our negative 2. And then 17 minus 7 is 10, so we're left with 10x. All right, next is numbers. So it says use inverse operations to move constants. So constants, remember, are numbers by themselves to one side. All right, so we have a constant over here and a variable over here. So there's no constants or numbers to move on the other side. We already reached our goal, so we can skip that step. We have a constant and a variable on each side. That's what we want. So now we can solve by using multiplication or division. And it says use inverse operations to isolate the variable. So isolate the variable, you're going to use multiplication or division. So over here, we have 10x, which is the same thing as 10 times x. So 10 times a number. Inverse operation of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide by 10 on both sides to get it equal to just 1x. So if I divide by 10 on this side, I have to divide by 10 on this side. So that'll cancel out, and then we get x is equal to negative 2 divided by 10. So don't forget to reduce, and it's okay if you have to type it in on the calculator. Negative 2 divided by 10 will get us negative 0.2, but if we want that as a fraction, it'd be negative 1/5. So x is equal to negative 1 divided by 5. So that means if we were to plug in negative 1 divided by 5 into each one of these variables, this side would equal this side. We would get the same number equal to this side. All right, let's take a look at the next one. I'm not going to solve all of it, but I'm just going to go through it with you to help get you started since there's a fraction. All right, so first step is, remember, is distribute. Is there parentheses? We don't have any parentheses, so we can skip that step. Combine like terms. All right, we got 1/3 minus 9. Okay, so everything on this side is already combined. On this side, however, we have 14x minus 13x. So variable, variable, same variable. So we can rewrite this, 1/3 x minus 9, carry that down, is equal to 14 minus 13, which is 1, or just x. We express 1x as x by itself, carry down our negative 7, and then now we've combined like terms. All right, so now you're probably wondering what to do with this fraction. So to get rid of a fraction, we take the denominator and multiply it by both sides of the equation. So to do that is we're going to have to create parentheses for multiplication. So I'm going to multiply the denominator, which is 3, by both sides of the equation. So now we have parentheses. So now we're going to have to go back to distribute. All right, so 3 times 1/3 is just equal to 1. So the way it would work is when you multiply the denominator by itself, you're just left with the numerator. So we would get 1x, or just x. Minus 3 times 9, which is 27, minus 27, is equal to, so now we're distributing this 3 to each term inside. So remember, a term are numbers or variables that are separated by a positive or a negative. So we would distribute this 3 to the x and to the negative 7. So 3 times x, we would get 3x. 3 times 7 is 3 times negative 7 is 21, so minus 21. And then you would proceed to solve just like that. So I think you should be good for the rest on that.